Om Shri Sai Ram, offering our collective pranams at the lotus feet of Sadguru Sri Madhusudan Sai. Respected elders, dear brothers and sisters, and all those joining us live, Sai Ram and a very good evening. It is said that India lives in its villages, villages that uphold the values of compassion, simplicity, dedication, and unity. And it is our duty to serve the villages in order to serve the nation. In the lead up to Sadguru's 44th birthday, Sadguru very graciously blessed for prasadam to be distributed to the surrounding villages. Close to 600 students, staff, and devotees visited 6 clusters covering a total of 35 villages. Over 37,000 villagers were served prasadam, which was received with a lot of reverence and gratitude. Here are a few photographs from this morning's Gram Seva. May we now invite Shri B.N. Narasimhamurthy, revered Chancellor of the University, to address all of us this evening.
Loving pranams at the lotus feet of Sadguru Sri Madhusudan Sai, brothers and sisters and very dear students, boys and girls. Apart from the Grama Seva in the 35 villages around, on the occasion of the 44th birthday celebrations of Sadguru, 70,000 saris are going to be distributed to cooks in 35,000 schools in 23 states and 3 union territories of India, which are adopted for Annapurna service. Apart from that, 35 lakh children who are being covered under the Annapurna morning nutrition scheme will also be given gifts along with sweets. This will happen in the next few weeks. Daivi Sampad Vimokshaya Nibandaya Asuri Mata Mashucha Sampadam Daivim Abhichautosi Pandava. This is the 5th shloka of the Daivasura Sampad Vibhaga Yoga on which Sadguru spoke yesterday evening. The divine treasure of virtues lead one towards God. And the demonic qualities, vices, they lead man away from God. And yesterday, Sadguru made a very valid point that the fundamental divine quality is to cultivate faith in God, devotion to God, and not give up on God in any situation in life, good or bad. See, that is the fundamental quality. Sarve gunaha bhaktim ashrayanti, it is said. All virtues take shelter with devotion to God. Therefore, devotion to God is the queen of all virtues. On the other hand, you go to the demonic qualities. The fundamental demonic quality is to deny God, to reject God. And once you reject God, see, God is like a lamp. Where there is a lamp, there is light. And where there is no lamp, there is darkness. So asuri, the demonic qualities are like the darkness, and divine qualities are like the light. Therefore, the fundamental thing, here in this particular shloka, Lord Krishna, who has assumed the role of Guru for Arjuna, who has declared himself, surrendered himself as the Shishya, gives him a positive assurance. You have nothing to worry, Ma Sucha, don't worry, because you are born with divine qualities. Daiva Sampad, Daivi Sampad of qualities, therefore you need not worry. And why actually the people who reject God, why do they reject God? Carl Jung, considered to be one of the founding fathers of modern psychiatry, modern psychoanalysis, who worked with Freud in the initial stages and later on moved away because there was complete divergence in their discoveries and their views on mental health. Practicing psychiatry for more than 40 years, towards the end of his life, he said, in my psychiatric practice for over 40 years, no person with faith in God has ever come to me as a patient. That's what he said. There was nobody who went to him as a patient if he had faith in God. If the sense of frustration, alienation, and depression is engulfing individuals today all over the world, the root cause is they have moved away from God. See, that is very important. He also analyzed why it happened. In fact, in the last 200 years, the rapid progress of science and technology has simplified our living but complicated our life. And apart from the external problems that science and technology have created, not that science and technology have created only problems. Definitely they have bestowed upon humanity many boons. They have revolutionized human life, and definitely myriad benefits have accrued to mankind. Apart from the gigantic problems like nuclear weapons, the environmental decline, one very adverse effect of science was so-called scientific temper, which had a devastating impact on the human psyche. It actually impacted, so-called scientific temper impacted humanity in three ways. But I would like to concentrate on this, which Carl Jung analyzed very, very astutely. Scientific temper made a large chunk of humanity reject religion and move away from God. And consider only the external world and the external phenomena as the truth, forgetting the inner truth, believing in only sense perception and religion and reason, sense perception and reason as means of knowledge, rejecting intuition completely. It created a very cold, mechanistic world. And why did people reject religion and God? His analysis says that science and technology threw up innumerable objects of sense gratification. The craving in human beings for sense gratification became so very intense, they did not want to follow any moral or ethical code which every religion lays down for cultivating self-discipline in individuals and also for social integrity and harmony. See, every religion which is centered around God, it lays down some moral code, some ethical code. And these people who had such irrepressible, insatiable craving for sense pleasures, they did not want to follow any moral code. Therefore, they rejected God. Therefore, they rejected religion so that they can claim to be scientific-minded people. We don't believe in God. We believe in only what we can see with our senses, what we can perceive with our senses. That is exactly what is said by Sadguru yesterday, quoting from this Daivasura Sampad Vibhaga Yoga. That is, there is no spiritual cause for this universe. There is no moral principle binding this universe. Everything is only material. So he gave that reason. And today also you find in young people who claim to be scientific people, they don't care for religion and God because they want to enjoy sense pleasures endlessly, rejecting everything. So calling myself, I'm an atheist, calling myself, I'm a rational person. Therefore, I don't have God, I don't have religion. Therefore, I need not have to follow any moral code of conduct. See, that is behind. Because I have also seen in my life with the Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba, there were many young people on whom he showered great love and affection. And they came very close to him. Even I'm talking about physical proximity to Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. Some of them moved away because of desires. Because they wanted to enjoy the sense pleasures, they moved away. But when they went out, what did they say? They never said this. They never said the truth. They said, I lost faith in Baba. Baba is not God. Baba is not divine. They gave hundreds of reasons. Therefore, these asuri qualities, the demonic qualities begin with rejection of God. And no taste for spiritual things. No taste to know about God, about Bhagavad Gita, about any of the scriptures. Therefore, young people, especially our students, should be aware. This kind of unabashed hedonism to enjoy pleasures in the world can come in many guises. It can come in many ways and attack the mind, especially when we are young, and we should be definitely very, very guarded about that. The best is, especially this evening, Sadguru was telling our university girl students, this evening just before coming here, see, Krishna has assured Ananyas Chintayanto Mam Ye Janah Pariyupasate Tesham Nityabhiyuktanam Yogakshemam Vahamya. I will look after the welfare of those on a condition that you think of me all the time and serve me. See, that's a condition. But Sadguru said, know what has happened. It is reversed. Your welfare of all the students is first taken care of. Yoga Kshemam Vahamyaham has already happened. One of the girls who was speaking said, I do not know what good karma has brought to me. What good karma has brought to me here. Because you are completely taken care of. Boys and girls, you just think for a moment. You need not have to worry about anything. Everything is given to you. And Sadguru has also assured every one of you, I will provide you employment after your education. Every one of the university students has been assured this. And top of it, Sadguru has said, I will look after your family and parents also. See, what else do you need? This is Yoga Kshemam Vahamyaham. So, without any conditions, so no terms and conditions. There is nothing like saying conditions apply. There is no conditions applied. The result has come to you first. The blessing has come to you first. Now you have to fulfill the conditions. No conditions led. But what is the condition? All the time think of God and serve God who is in everyone. See, that is the call that Sadguru gave this evening to his university students. And it is not only for students, for everyone. He is taking care of everybody. He is taking care of everybody. I would like to tell especially the students about myself. At the age of 19, I went to Sathya Sai Baba. He said, you do my work, I will do your work, and your future is safe in my hands. I never ever thought of earning money in my life. But all my life, I have lived like a prince. And even now, I am a prince. He has looked after me. So he is looking after every one of us. Maybe some of us may think we are born rich, we earned a lot of wealth. But what is more important, he has given us that happiness and peace of mind. Therefore, he is taking care of us. Therefore, our only job is to think of him all the time and serve everyone, because he is in the hearts of everyone. With these words, I conclude and pray to Sadguru for his enlightening discourse on this wonderful evening. Thank you very much.
नाहं मनुष्यो न च देवयक्षः न ब्रह्मचारी गृहीवनस्थः तेरिदु everybody is shaking head as if everybody knows न ब्राह्मणः क्षत्रियो वैश्य शूद्रः अहं सत्यबोधकः. I am not a god, a demigod, or any of those categories of demigods, yakshas. I am not brahmachari, the students who are here, who are studying in brahmachari ashrama dharma they are following, or grahastha, the householder, or vanastha, the one who is now a renunciate or who is dwelling in the forest and is ready to renounce the world. I am none of them. I am not Kshatriya, the warrior class, Vaishyas, the tradesmen, Shudras, the working class, or Brahmins, the intellectual class. I cannot be categorized in any of these categories in which generally the human population falls into. Then who am I? The answer is I am only the teacher of truth, Satya Bodhaka. That is why Sadguru, because there are many types of gurus. Yoga gurus are there, management gurus are there. So also all kinds of gurus of all subjects and forms of arts. But I am the teacher of truth. I have to teach truth. That's my job. But then I have two ways of teaching it. One is the theory, which happens within the walls of this Premamrutham auditorium, all in your own campuses, classrooms, bhajan halls. And the other side of this teaching of truth is practice of it in the world, everywhere. Only theory without practice means nothing. You don't even understand whether you have learnt it or not unless you put it into practice. You may imagine that you have understood everything because you heard it once. But only when you put it into practice, that's when you realize whether you have truly understood or it is still not a complete knowledge. So, testing all our convictions in the laboratory of life, in the society, while dealing with people, doing things that are needed to be done, is the right way to learn the truth. Theory is the easier part of the truth. The practical part is the more difficult. So if I am a good teacher, then I have to ensure that you just don't learn the theory, but also you practice it in your daily life. And that is what I am always trying to aim at. When we learn all these Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, Shastras and many other stotrams and things like that. They're all theoretical knowledge. It means nothing. It's like looking at the picture of a chapati. But you can't eat the picture and satisfy your hunger unless you're a cow or a buffalo. You have to eat the real chapati. For that sake, you have to work. And that is the practical part of it. Reading, learning, explaining, discussing, writing tests and exams on Bhagavad Gita is only the theory part of it. But that's not the joy of the teacher. What use is that theory which you cannot practice in your daily life? So I am more interested and more keen in knowing whether you are practicing it or not. In things big and small. In every situation that you face. However ordinary or however extraordinary the situation might be. Only when you are practicing, that's what gives me true joy. As I was talking to the students of the university, also a lot of nursing and paramedical students have joined last year and this year as well. All of them were there, all girls, dressed up in the same sari. They have no choice. And I keep giving more saris, so they never give me an excuse, oh, I didn't have sari, so I didn't wear one. You have to wear because you have enough of them. I was listening to what they had to say, and especially those who have joined just recently, 18 days back, when the Bhagavad Gita classes started, a new batch of students joined, even in those nursing and paramedical courses. And I wanted to know what's happening there. What did they learn in 18 days of Bhagavad Gita? Have they already packed their bags and kept ready to go home, or they are going to survive this ordeal? But when I heard one of them talk, of course I can't listen to everybody, there's no time. And she was mentioning that how many changes have come about. And one very interesting observation that I did not think of, she was saying, every now and then you were mentioning Atma, Atma, Atma. And I was wondering, in the common parlance, Atma means the ghost that remains after one dies. That Atma keeps roaming around, that's what we say. A dissatisfied, disembodied soul. So she was thinking, why are we discussing that? That's not even a topic to be discussed in a spiritual place. That's a ghost and goblins and disembodied beings. So that is the understanding of the new generation about Atma. Atma is what happens to you when you die without fulfilling all your desires and you keep haunting the place. That's when you are called an Atma. That is the understanding of the new generation of Atma, because nobody has taught them. Nobody has told them that Atma is the most sacred principle of divinity that is within, that all the beings, the untouched, unblemished, Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Nirmala Swarupinam. That perfect consciousness, awareness in you is Atman, and that's in all. But the common understanding of people is that it's a ghost. And that's what you become. So that made me, in a way, understand what must be the plight of so many more people. At least this girl had some understanding of some idea about she was mentioning, she did not even know what is the content of Bhagavad Gita. Now what lies within. She thought there will be stories like how it is in Ramayana and Mahabharata. There is a story of a prince or two cousins warring clans and things like that. She did not know the content of Bhagavad Gita at all before joining here. The first time she's getting to know, Bhagavad Gita consists of so many verses and it's a question and answer format in which Lord Krishna is explaining a lot of truths to Arjuna. This is the first time she's even got to know about it. And her understanding of things like Atma is absolutely way off from what the real truth is. But that also gives you an idea of what's actually the spiritual quotient, or at least the scriptural quotient of people in the society at this point in time. Yesterday we heard Sri Krishna said, you have to follow the scriptures because they will tell you what to do and what not to do. But so many of us have not even looked into what's the content of these scriptures and what is it that it's trying to convey. They have never even opened the scripture and seen what lies within. The other day when I was talking to a set of school boys and I was telling them to chant some stotrams, and some of them were able to, some of them were struggling. And I asked them only one thing, in last 1 month, how many subjects and how many chapters have you studied? And they told whatever number of, they have 5 subjects. In each subject they would have at least studied 3 chapters in 1 month. That will be total of 12 to 15 chapters across 5 different types of subjects. And each chapter would consist of how many lines or words or concepts and things like that. You consider that even there are 100 lines, 100 sentences in one chapter. 1500 sentences at least you would have newly learned, which you have not learned before. This is what you got to know now. That too of different varieties. And you have to remember all that because you will have a test coming up, where you have to perform. In a month's time, 5 different types of topics and 1500 new ideas or sentences you had to remember just to survive the curriculum. But how many of us in 1 month have opened any of the scriptures? If you take Bhagavad Gita, how many lines are there in Bhagavad Gita? If I have to say that there are lines, like each is a verse, right? How many verses are there? So into each verse has 2 lines, let us say, right? 700 into 2 is equal to 1400. This is still less than what you have studied in 1 month across 5 subjects. Still less than that, isn't it or not? Yet Bhagavad Gita has never been opened by anyone and never anybody has attempted to read what's lying within. That is not more than 1 month of your academic efforts actually. If you really take Bhagavad Gita seriously and want to study, that's 1400 lines. That's less than what you would study in 1 month in any class, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, whatever. But the plight of our country's education and the education worldwide is that nobody opens these scriptures to read those 1400 lines which can set you on the right path for the rest of your life. All the other 1500 sentences that you studied across 15 chapters or whatever, those sentences may or may not be helpful tomorrow because you will change over from a general stream to an art stream or the science stream, and many of these concepts you may not require. And that knowledge will not be necessary and will be lost with the passage of time. But we are okay to invest in that. Why? Because the whole world tells you that do this and that's how you can survive in the world. Do this and that's how you will be able to earn a living. Do this, that's how you will be able to stand on your 2 feet. Do this, that's how you will be respected in the society. But nobody tells that open a Bhagavad Gita and read those 1400 sentences, which is less than 1 month's curriculum that you are studying across subjects in any class. And if you go to university and all, in 1 chapter only, there will be 1500 sentences. So imagine it's not even 1 month's effort for a university student anywhere. But how many of them have ever opened a scripture like this and looked into what's like that? I'm not asking you to study that magnum opus of Mahabharata, where, I don't know, 1 lakh shlokas or something. So that 2 lakhs, so you can imagine. So this is nothing. Bhagavad Gita, the essence, substance of, and the entire, Sara, that's what I said, that it is the essence of everything that you can ever study in Sanatana Dharma. No concept has been missed out. Maybe in another scripture, another name or terminology might have been used, but they are present, all those ideas and concepts are present in one Bhagavad Gita, which is just 1400 sentences. That's all you have to study. And you are set for life. And we have studied hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of books, sentences or whatever, whichever chapters, concepts throughout our lives. And we do not have time to open a Bhagavad Gita book and just study 1400 of them. That is the plight of today's education. And how can I blame a child which tells, I think Atma means ghost and Bhagavad Gita is a story? What can we tell the child? Because that is not the child's fault. We never made the child sit down and open the book. And that is why I felt that being Indians, it's Bhagavad Gita universal text. It's for all. And so many people, great people from around the world, from America to Europe to East Asia to everywhere, people have studied Bhagavad Gita and benefited from it. They have, without any hesitation, they have proclaimed to the world that this is the best thing that has happened to them in the world, in their lives. Because this is what changed their life, the perspectives and their attitude towards everything. It has helped them a lot. So this is how Shastras are so important. But unfortunately, nobody encourages students because they think this is not going to help them make a living. Nobody is going to give them a salary for knowing Bhagavad Gita. But they don't realize that anything else that they want to do in life, they will not be able to do it right unless they know the truths of Bhagavad Gita. That nobody wants to tell them. So this is where my duty comes into picture, that I want to ensure, at least for the students who are a part of this institution, we cannot influence and control what happens in all the schools across the world at this point in time. We have no control over that. We can't do anything about it. I can only say they are less fortunate than all of you because they are not getting to know these great truths of the scriptures. At least the schools, Indian schools, I can't speak for the schools in the other countries, but at least Indian schools and Bhagavad Gita, is not available, not accessible. Parents don't know at home because their parents also, they have never studied all these things, at least not in the depth that it deserves. So for 2 or 3 generations, the scriptural study, repetition of the stories, or what you call bedtime stories from the Puranas and Upanishads and Gita has never happened to children. It has never happened. We all learnt of growing, Baba black sheep and things like that. And we have never wanted to improve. Somebody comes home, parent takes great pride. Come here, Putta, repeat whatever you have learnt in the school. And the child will tell you whatever the table of 2 to 3, 4, 5, like that. See, my child knows so much. Then they will tell you, speak in English. Get great pride they take. See, you can speak in English. In Indian households, I'm saying. And what else they do? They tell, repeat the nursery rhymes that you have picked up. And they will repeat all these things. And people are so proud. They tell, oh, your child is brilliant. How much it knows? That is the plight of Indian households. Then nobody says, my child, chant this 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Nobody is interested in that. They think, what is this? What is he learning? After all, what he will do with all this knowledge? What use will that be? They do not even understand how important it is to know this knowledge, using which you can do so well in everything else in life, not just in your professions, but more importantly, your personal life. You will be a balanced person. You will take things in the great spirit or attitude. You will not get deviated from the right path. You will not end up in a mess. And that is what Bhagavad Gita is actually trying to do. So why I am insisting is that those who feel that, oh, there is so much of time being spent, 20 days of this and that, and parents feel uncomfortable or anybody feels any other way, all I want to tell is that I have not asked you for more than 1 month of your academic studies, which you would do in whole of your life. You have so many more months of studies, but this is just equivalent to 1 month of study of just 1400 lines. This is what you will study in any school anywhere in the world, 1500 lines in a month. That's what you're studying over here. But this will help you to take care of everything. Your life is all going to be beautiful because you'll be able to practice these values. So I was happy when I heard this little girl saying, I do not know what good deeds I have done that I got this opportunity to come here and start off on this Bhagavad Gita note. I was telling, we all have March Past during sports meet that's coming this year. So you start on the right foot, then you will be able to, right foot means right way. Don't start on the right foot. That's not how March Past is. Left, right, left it goes, okay? So what it means is that start correctly and then you are able to march correctly. If you start wrong, what happens? All the time you are struggling to adjust yourself to the next person and to the beat. And you keep missing the beat, you mess up the entire march and everybody's performance suffers. Likewise, if you start the academic year with a good workshop like this on some spiritual text or concept, the whole year will be beautiful. You can relate to what is happening in your mind, in your surroundings, how people are behaving, according to all the truths that you have learned from Bhagavad Gita, and then you can make your response to it. You don't have to react and instinctively, impulsively deal with things. You can calm down, realize what is happening around you, take your time and respond better. You will be a better human being. That is what should happen. And one of the senior teachers was telling, in all their life, they knew Bhagavad Gita. But this is the plight of who? This is the plight of a child who comes from outside, doesn't know what is Bhagavad Gita. This is the plight of others is that they have memorized it, but they don't know the meaning of the shlokas. They just memorize it, it's like a tape recorder. You switch on the button and they'll repeat the entire thing verbatim. But they don't know the meaning of it. Forget about the essence. So that is the other side of the story. People have learnt it by rote, but they never know what is the meaning and how to practice it also. So we are really in a very, I would say, a very difficult situation as a society, especially as Indian society, Indian education system, where on one side children have no clue of what's lying in these scriptures and why it's important. On the other side, there are people who have learnt it, but they have not learnt it well. They have not practiced most of it. He was telling me, you blessed me that I practice. Even at this age, I find there are deficiencies and faults. So, idea is that as a teacher, I want to ensure that you get everything right. You get the theory right, you get the practicals also right. And the practicals of Bhagavad Gita is this: to remember God at all times and serve God in all beings. That's all is the Bhagavad Gita at the end. That is your dharma. Dharma, kshetre, kshetre, dharmam kuru. In all situations, do the right thing. And what is the right thing to do? To remember God, and ananya shintayantam, what Bhagavan says. And paryupasate, they serve me. Pariyupasana means you can think they meditate on me, but I would say rather they serve him. So think of God at all times and serve God in all beings. That's the essence of Bhagavad Gita. But how do you do that? Because you forget God most of the times. You think you are the doer. You do not feel like serving. There is selfishness that creeps in. How to deal with all that? That is the essence of, that is how Bhagavad Gita teaches us how we have to overcome certain of these lower qualities and ideas, replace them with higher ideas, and that's how we grow as human beings. That's how the Ivasur Sampita Vibhava Yoga came, because you come to know that there are demonic qualities and there are Daivi qualities. How many of you went back and meditated on your neighbor's demonic qualities? Nobody. So whom you meditated upon? On yourselves. How many of you felt that two horns and a tail is growing? Many of you felt there are some demonic qualities in us, right? We are a mix of things. And accordingly, at different points of time, we exhibit different qualities based on Desha Kala Paristiti. So what do you decide to do then? Let it be, that's how I was born, all God's will, I was born like this. Or you will tell, no, I have to get rid of, because Sri Krishna says, unless you get rid of demonic qualities, you cannot become me, you cannot reach me. So to reach him means to reach that supreme truth. You have to get rid of these qualities. And that is the job of all of you. So as I was telling, what is Guru Dakshina? Take one of these principles. Take any principle of Bhagavad Gita and practice. And some of them were telling, and yesterday also one boy was telling, very interesting. He told, Swami, I have learned equanimity from Bhagavad Gita. I have developed equanimity. I almost fell off my chair. Here is a Jnani. I have not developed equanimity still. I asked him, how did you come to know that you have developed equanimity? He said, once it so happened that in my campus, we had to set the mic for some program. And he was in charge of this audio, visuals, whatever. And that mic did not work on that day, just when it was supposed to happen. And because of which, naturally some people came and scolded him, saying that how could you not take care of it? Some people came and consoled him also. The Asuri Sampada came and scolded him. The Daivi Sampada came and told, it's okay, sometimes it happens, don't feel bad. He said, I was not affected by both of them. When people came and scolded also, I took it in the right spirit. When people came and consoled also, I said, I know it may happen. So I have developed equanimity is his conclusion. Yes, for that situation, he's definitely developed equanimity. Because it was within his means, within his limits or powers. Imagine if he was in charge of the mic and audio and visual for the convocation of the university when the president was coming. Forget him, I would not have had equanimity. So equanimity appears, we have attained, after this Bhagavad Gita session, 10-12 days you have not interacted with anybody, you have not gone and opened your academic books, you have not dealt with the world as such. You have been all cocooned in a nice spiritual environment, everybody is all the time meditating. 2 days from now, Bhagavad Gita gets over, no more Paravidya, no more sitting in this beautiful spiritual cocoon and feeling so safe and suddenly very sacred, and you feel like you have elevated yourself. All that will get tested in 2 days from now. And you will realize how many of you are really equanimous, how many of you are not. How many of you are really conquered Kama, Krodha, Lobha, how many of you are still going through it. That is the time when you will be able to really, really put it into practice and test your convictions. But at that point of time, the first thing that should happen is that anytime you deviate, a bell should ring in your head. Not the real bell like your hostel bell. It only is allegoric. It means you should get alerted. Look at this, I am losing my temper. Look at this, I am becoming greedy. Look at this, doership has come in. Look at this, I am trying to enjoy and steal God's credit. Look at this, I am being rude. That feeling should immediately trigger in you. That alertness should be there. If after 18 days of all this sadhana, if that alertness also has not come, then I tell you, you have not learnt much, because you will never even know that you are wrong in the first place. What should you correct then? So everybody of you should become more conscious and alert after this Paravidya Shivira. I am not expecting you, all of you, to become equanimous and Samadarshina and all that. That may not happen immediately. But at least when it is not happening, you are aware that it is not happening. And not blindly go on doing things like asuras, They don't care. Even if somebody comes and tells, you what, you have lost your temper, you're behaving very rude. They say, no, I'm fine. They don't even accept feedback. Forget about contemplating on themselves. They find faults with everybody, including they find faults with God. No, this educational system is like that. Everything is. Yesterday also a boy wrote a letter to me. Some children left last year because I changed the whole pattern, right? Those who were very ambitious and wanted to, get into big colleges, and so they felt that, so much of Paravidya, so much time is being spent on all this. I cannot compete in big competitive exams. Some people have that, Asuri Sampadaya, they say. They left. So this boy is written, this somebody who left from the campus went and told my father at home, take him out of the school, because those people are hardly teaching anything. All the time they're doing Bhagavad Gita and things like that. Why? Because that boy is not interested. But he doesn't want to be blamed. That I left the institution is good, but I am not good enough to fit into the culture. So he not only that he denies him being wrong, he goes and poisons the mind of somebody else, telling that actually the institution is doing things which is not supposed to be done like this. This is what Narasimhamurthy is saying. This is Asuri people. Not only they find faults with others, they even find fault with God. Find fault with God. This is why I have taken the pain of explaining. Even if I have taken 20 days of your life to teach you Bhagavad Gita, it is just 1400 lines, which is equal to 1 month of your studies of any subject anywhere. And that's all is the time, energy you have spent. In a whole of your life, let us say your span of 100 years, you have taken 1 month out to study Bhagavad Gita. That will set right 99 years and 11 months of your life in the right way. This is the power of Bhagavad Gita. You should not take it lightly. If anybody else says this is what happens in the institution, you should proudly say, yes, we start on the left foot when we start marching. We don't make a mistake there, because we know if once we lose this correctness of our understanding, everything will go into a mess. So that is why so much of explanation I have given, that how different children, some have no exposure, some have no idea, elders who have learned but they have no understanding of it. This is the situation in which our scriptures are at this point in time. And Sri Krishna says scriptures are like the true north, like the pole star, guiding light. Without that we cannot go ahead. We do not know what is right, what is wrong, how to behave, how to respond, how to deal with people and situations. We fail there, and that is the reason why all this modern psychology, everything has come into picture. They give a lot of ideas, they all relate it back to some reaction, chemical reaction in your brain and things like that. But it is much beyond that. The scientists do not understand this, so they give wrong solutions, wrong diagnosis of your issues. The right diagnosis is that you do not have spiritual understanding of things. That's why you do not know how to place yourself and how to react to things or respond to things. That is the real cause. But scientists only scratch the surface and take too much pride, publish papers. So we also started a BSc course in mental health, which was because of the reason a lot of people asked us that we need this because a lot of people are going through depression. But this course is very beautifully being designed, combining the Western and the Eastern ideas. The Western ideas, somewhere it is right, I'm not saying it is wrong, but that is superficial is all I'm saying. There is a deeper understanding of human mind, which comes from scriptures that are Indian. We have to study both. Then we will be able to understand everything better. That is the idea of Bhagavad Gita. You learn this, that 1 month that you have put aside for learning Bhagavad Gita is not much. It is less than even 1 month of your curriculum that you anyways will have to study. But that will set right the remaining years and months and weeks and days of your life, which is what I'm trying to achieve as a teacher. And this is very important that you pay sincere attention to this. Shraddhavan Labhate Jnanam, it is said. Even today they were saying, they chanted from this 12th chapter, and Sri Krishna says, whatever I have said, if you follow it to the T in letter and spirit, not just namesake, He says, Yathoktam paryupasate, not just as you feel like, as I mean, as I intend it to be, not just as I instruct, but as I intend it to be. With that sincerity, if you practice what I said, why? Shraddhadana mat parama. Out of Shraddha, out of your sincere love and devotion to this subject, and for whose sake? For my sake, for God's sake. Not for your sake, not for your teacher's sake, or not for your friend's sake. For God's sake, I want to do it with sincerity. And what will happen? Bhaktas te ativa priya. They become very, very dear to me, Sri Krishna says. Very dear to me, not just dear. Very dear. Ativa me priya. When you follow it in the letter and spirit, not just read it up and mug it up and quote it anywhere and just as you feel, but also having practiced it. And the practical of this Paravidya will be for the next 11 months of this year. That is where all your understanding will get tested. But the most important thing would be, this time when you go wrong, you would know that you are going wrong. And you would know that you have to set yourself right. You can't go on like this. And nobody needs to tell you this time. Something within should tell you, I have to correct myself. And that would be the achievement of Bhagavad Gita. Today we had a service, so nobody studied the Shraddha-traya Vibhaga Yoga, so I am not speaking about that. In general, I was speaking about the intention of studying Bhagavad Gita early on in one's life, because that will help you to do the right things always in your life. With this idea, we will study tomorrow the remaining chapters, and then we'll close it by 25th, I think, day after. But this is just the beginning of your journey. This is not the end of journey. This is just the beginning. You just got to know the road map. Now you have to travel the road. Now you have to start your journey. And on your journey, there will be all the problems. Whenever such a problem comes, when issues come, immediately some shloka, some concept, some word of Bhagavad Gita should strike you. This is what Krishna meant. When this happens, I have to behave like this. That should be your way of learning Bhagavad Gita. Okay, and whenever you find, not whenever you find, make time for it, that every day at least one chapter you chant to yourself. Don't have to chant in group. Even in personally you should chant, so that you don't forget this knowledge. If you don't revise, it will disappear. After 1 year, you will be back to the square one. In fact, square zero, not even square one. Nothing will be remaining. So that is the idea. You all have to continuously chant this after this shivir also. Today we also have another music concert, and we will enjoy that. Again, try to understand how the same divinity expresses itself through so many ways and through so many people. Through some it sings, through some it dances, through some it speaks, through some it works in the hospital, through some it serves. So many ways Bhagavan works. It's one only. Mamaiva Avsho. This is His presence only in everybody. And that is how you should look at everything from here onwards. With these words, I conclude for today. Very happy that you went about doing seva. And around the world also, seva is being done. In India also, all these schools, 35,000 of them, children are getting some prasadam. But truly is that it is not, this we are doing every day actually. There is nothing new. Every day we are serving breakfast to 35 lakh children. How does it matter if you serve another extra sweet on one particular day? So our celebrations of being devotees, being the people who love God, is daily celebration. Every day there is seva going on. It is not something special, but just to make people aware, some more seva is being done and some more participation from all the people for the joy of the devotees. So, but seva is our daily routine. That is how we live, and that is how we should live even here onwards, each one of you. Remember this, what Narasimhamurti told, your yoga kshevam has been looked after first. Now it's time for you to do ananya chintana and pariyupasana. Now it's your turn to do. This is the other way around here. That's why I said all shlokas you can read as you want. This shloka you read it in reverse. Second line first and the first line second, because that's what is happening in our institutions. Your job is to serve, not me. Don't come and tell, I want to serve you now. Somehow, I don't need service. You please take care of all those hundreds and thousands who are still languishing somewhere without this opportunity. Take care of them and I will be happy. That is the seva, that is dakshina, that is the true learning of Bhagavad Gita. That is our true gratitude to great gurus, rishis, munis who have kept this tradition alive. But that will be our way of expressing our gratitude to all of them. So with blessings, I will see you tomorrow.